All right, let's dive right in to another deep dive with us. And today, we're breaking down that Wales-South Africa match from November 23rd, 2024.
Looking forward to it.
Now, we know you guys, our listeners, you follow rugby, you're dedicated. So
Yeah.
we're not going to mess around with the basic match recap, right? We're going to get straight to the good stuff with our expert here.
Always happy to be here, ready to dig into it, all the key moments and what they mean for both sides.
Perfect. Yeah, on paper, this was a Springboks win, 45-12, clear cut.
Mm-hmm.
But for Wales, this was, well, way more than just another loss. This is their 12th straight defeat.
Oof.
You got to go all the way back to 1937 to find the last time a Welsh team went a whole calendar year without a win.
Yeah, that's a tough one for Welsh fans to swallow, for sure. And it's not just, a little dip in form or something. It really points to some deeper problems going on in Welsh rugby right now.
Exactly. And to really get how big this loss was, we need to take you back to the very beginning. The opening minutes of the match, South Africa came out with this intensity that just completely overwhelmed Wales.
Mm.
I mean, Mostert scored a try only 6 minutes in, and then bam, Edsivas gets another one just 3 minutes later.
Yeah, those first 10 minutes were like textbook Springboks rugby. They were relentless. And I think that really set the tone for the rest of the match. It's hard to come back from that kind of start, especially against a team as physically dominant as South Africa.
So was it just Wales being, I don't know, outmuscled by a stronger Springboks team? What went wrong for them?
Well, South Africa's physicality was definitely a huge part of it. Their forward pack was controlling the scrum, the breakdown, giving them that foundation to launch their attacks. But it wasn't all brute force. They were smart, their defense was super tight, and they basically shut down all of Wales's attacking options.
Yeah, it felt like Wales was constantly playing catch-up, never really got any momentum.
Exactly. They had a couple of chances, moments where they got close to the Springboks try line. But every time, they just couldn't seal the deal.
I keep thinking about those 2 times where Welsh players were held up right before the try line. Those felt like turning points.
For sure. If Wales had converted even one of those, who knows, maybe the momentum shifts. But those missed chances really highlight a problem for Wales, I think. It's that inability to perform when the pressure's on. And against a team like South Africa, who are so good at finishing their chances, those mistakes are killers.
And then on top of all that, Wales had to deal with some big injuries during the match, which forced them to make substitutions, messed up their game plan.
Injuries are always a setback, but they really seemed to hit Wales hard in this one. It threw them off, and they never quite recovered.
Yeah, it almost felt like the weight of that losing streak got to them.
Yeah.
Started affecting their decisions on the field.
Right, right. Yeah, you could just see the frustration building as the match went on.
Now look, it wasn't all bad for Wales, right? They did manage to score 2 tries. One from Rio Dyer, right before halftime, his 8th try in international rugby,
Wow.
which, pretty impressive for a young player.
Definitely.
And then another try from James Botham late in the game. Did those moments give any, I don't know, hope to Welsh fans? Or were they just, like, flashes in the pan?
Well, you're right to point them out for sure. They do offer a little bit of hope, Dyer, especially he's a real talent, could be a key player for Wales going forward. But I think we got to look at those tries in the context of the whole match. South Africa had control pretty much the entire time.
So even those good moments couldn't hide the bigger problems Wales has to fix.
Exactly. And on that note, South Africa's performance, it was like a masterclass, controlled aggression, tactical awareness. They were dominant everywhere.
Yeah, their forward pack was like a battering ram,
Mm-hmm.
just pushing Wales back constantly.
Yeah.
Did you see anything specific in their tactics that, I don't know, led to that level of dominance?
Their pod system was incredibly effective. Those small groups of forwards attacking narrow channels, it really disrupted Wales's defense. Plus, they mixed up their point of attack really well, kept Wales guessing, stopped them from getting settled.
And once they broke through that Welsh defense, man, they were ruthless, turning those chances into points.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Clinical finishing. They didn't waste any chances. That's the mark of a champion team. Taking their opportunities.
And those substitutions they made throughout the match, so smart. Always fresh legs on the field. I bet that was demoralizing for Wales, just seeing wave after wave of Springboks coming at them.
It definitely kept the pressure on, that's for sure. And it shows how deep the South African squad is. They have quality players everywhere, which means they can keep that intensity up for the full 80 minutes.
And then there was Jordan Hendricks at fly half. Scored a try, converted 5 others. What a game.
Hendricks was outstanding, controlled the game perfectly, smart decisions, and his kicking. Pinpoint. He was running the show for South Africa's attack.
So looking ahead, What does this match mean for both teams? Let's start with Wales. This loss is, well, it's part of a much bigger issue, right? This historically bad losing streak. The pressure's got to be on Warren Gatland, the head coach.
No question about it. 12 losses in a row, that's unheard of for a team like Dame. Wales fans are frustrated, and they're asking if Gatland's the right man for the job.
Tough spot for him. What needs to happen for Wales to turn things around? Is it just changing players, or are there bigger problems that need fixing?
It's a bit of both, I think. They definitely need new talent, but there are also issues with their game plan, their tactics, and how they make decisions to pressure. All that needs to be addressed.
Do you think a new coach could be the answer? Someone new, a fresh perspective?
A new coach might give them a boost, but it's not a magic solution, The problems go deeper than that. They need to take a long, hard look at the whole Welsh rugby system, from the ground up, from developing young players all the way to the national team.
So a long road ahead for Welsh rugby.
It is, yeah. But they've got a proud history, and I'm sure they'll bounce back. It's just a matter of when and how they'll do it.
Now, on the other side, South Africa. They're riding high after this win. This caps off a really successful Autumn Nations series for them. Wins against Scotland, England, and now Wales. What does this tell us about their chances at the World Cup?
I think it's a real statement. They're playing with confidence. They have a powerful team, very well balanced, and they're definitely one of the favorites going into the World Cup.
Yeah, they're so physical.
Yeah.
But they're not just a one-trick pony anymore, are they? They've shown they can be flexible, change their game plan depending on the opponent.
Right. They're not just relying on that forward dominance and set-piece power anymore. They're spreading the ball wider, using their backs more effectively.
A team to watch out for, not just in the World Cup, but for years to come.
Absolutely. A bright future ahead for them.
Now, before we finish up, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about Wales needing a total review of their rugby system. What exactly needs to change?
Well, first off, they got to look at how they develop players. Are they finding and supporting young talent the right way? Are they getting the coaching and support they need to reach their potential? And then they need to look at the coaching at every level. Are they building a culture of excellence? Are they keeping up with the latest tactics and techniques?
Oh, good points. It's about building a system that produces world-class players and coaches consistently.
Exactly. Not about quick fixes, but building a strong foundation for long-term success.
And that takes time, investment, and everyone being on the same page about the future of Welsh rugby.
Couldn't agree more. That's something everyone involved in Welsh rugby needs to work on together.
All right, so before we wrap things up, I want to hear from you, the listeners. What are your big takeaways from this match?
Yeah, what really jumped out at you as a rugby fan?
Were you surprised by how much South Africa won by? Or did you kind of expect them to dominate like that?
Did anything change your mind about either team?
Maybe you saw something South Africa did tactically that was really effective. Or a moment of brilliance from a young Welsh player that gives you hope for the future.
What do you think?
We want to hear your thoughts. What did this match show you about the state of international rugby right now?
Because for real rugby fans, watching a match like this, it's not just about the final score.
Right.
It's about understanding the little things, the tactics, the individual performances that tell the story of the game.
And that's what we try to do in these deep dives, give you the analysis and insights to understand and appreciate this amazing sport even more.
So as we close out our deep dive into this Wales-South Africa clash, we'll leave you with a question to think about.
Can Wales turn things around before the Six Nations? Or is this the start of a long, tough period for Welsh rugby?
And what about South Africa? Will they keep this momentum going into the World Cup and become a real contender?
We want you to really consider these questions. Share your thoughts with us.
Yeah.
Your perspectives help us all understand the game better and keep the conversation about international rugby going.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep that rugby passion alive.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive.
Cheers!